another one, but we'll keep going. There it is again. I don't believe it.
Wow. That was quick.
Yeah, they
two in a row.
Yeah, they pop up. I'll send them another email this week. F1. So we saw this because Louisa has a never-ending crush on Brad Pitt.
I mean, who doesn't?
I mean, all right, so do I. I mean, what's not to love? Charismatic, 60-plus years old. Looks like he's 42. In a racing movie, Joseph Kosinski did this one. Both a big fan of Top Gun Maverick.
He means we're both big fans of Top Gun Maverick.
What did I say? They know what I meant.
I'm just being specific.
So
I don't want any questions or confusion.
Let's do the overview here. I don't really like the way this
one turned out.
No, the way the mind map looks when I do it like this.
It changes the format.
Yeah, kind of a little bit. I can't even remember whose idea this was to see this. I guess it was kind of both of ours.
I think definitely.
So I pulled a couple of sources from Wikipedia and from. Can you see where I got those? I think one was from the Hollywood Reporter.
Yep, one was from the Hollywood Reporter. I don't know where
I think the other one was Dateline. So initially, there was, in June 22, Apple secured the distribution rights for this. It was a package deal between 130 and 140 million. Above line comp. Significant shift occurred in 2024 when Warner Brothers acquired global theatrical, home entertainment, and digital distribution rights from Apple. Let's see. World premiere at Radio City Music Hall on June 16th of this year. F1 drivers were in attendance. European premiere took place on June 23rd. You want to give us a breakdown of the movie?
Sure, I have a brief one.
All right, go to it.
From their internet movie database, a Formula One driver comes out of retirement to mentor and team up with a younger driver. That's very basic in my opinion. I mean, that's basically what it is, but of course there's more to it than that.
Okay, here we go. Then my layout's better now. 2025 American sports drama film that immerses viewers in the highly competitive world of Formula One. Mm-hmm. Directed by Joseph Kosinski, known for Top Gun. Brad Pitt, sorry, Brad, and Damson Idris. Idris, is that how you say his name? I don't know. I haven't seen him before.
I think he's new. I don't know. I haven't seen him.
He's a young guy. In leading roles, counts 7-time World Drivers champion Lewis Hamilton as a producer. Sonny Hayes is Brad Pitt, aging American racing driver and Formula One prodigy from the 90s, whose career was cut short 30 years prior due to a severe crash at the Spanish Grand Prix. And he's been driving Daytona for years at this point. And he gets, how would you say this? His buddy, Javier Bardem, just kind of comes out of nowhere, just shows up on his doorstep and says, "Hey, I bought this team with, I don't know, all my millions, I guess, that I won from racing. And I don't know how to manage a team that's in the toilet, and I keep losing races, and I need somebody to pull me out of the shitter. And it's funny because when this starts, I don't know anything about racing, but it looked like in Daytona they race in like not in pairs, but in like relays. Like one guy's in a car.
Yeah, it took me about the whole movie to figure that out.
And then, they race, one guy races for a few hours, or 5 hours or something, or 3 or 6 or whatever, and then the next guy jumps in. Because when we first see Brad Pitt, he's in, he's just in his van resting. And then he gets tapped to take over for the other driver, who he pulls a lead from, which they kind of needed because they were losing. And then I think they end up, spoiler alert, winning that race. But Javier Bardem plays Ruben Cervantes. Just kind of shows up while Pitt's doing laundry, and says, "Hey, I need you to run this team." And I think it's kind of I'll say a basic story, but like, I gotta be honest, I like simple stories.
I don't think it needs to be complicated. I mean, it gets more complicated.
Yeah. So the thing with F1 is, it's such an expensive sport to be part of. Like, there's a team, there's engineering. They got to build the car, they got to maintain it, and there's a race, and then 6 days or 7 days later, like, the entire crew plus the cars goes to another exotic location.
Mm-hmm. With all of their equipment, all of their stuff, parts of the car.
And like, these locations they're bananas, like Abu Dhabi and Ireland, and wasn't one in Cape Town, or
not Abu Dhabi, Dubai,
and Miami.
Yep.
I mean, just like,
all very showy, like fancy,
Vegas.
lavish. Yeah, Vegas.
And I gotta hand it to Kaczynski here, because like a lot of the driving, like just the backdrops were amazing with fireworks and
I know
the lights and the LEDs, like ad displays. Like there's a lot going on, but I think some people might find it like, I got a buddy, Rich, who I would think I can just see him saying it's very busy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But
but that kind of environment is busy, and you couldn't do it another way.
Yeah,
it would have to be. I mean, and along with the busyness, every race that these teams went to, it was full of people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there were people everywhere. There were fans. There were, working related to the race. There was just like, it was so many people. I could not be in that environment. That would make me insane. But it was cool to watch on screen because, well, we weren't there.
You remember we commented right after we saw it about how I think they kind of made a point that it's not. There's like in F1, I guess there's 20 drivers, and people who are trying to get into those boxes. Like, if you're not one of the 20 guys, you're basically subsistence level in terms of pay.
Yeah.
If you're running Daytona or something, you might make, $5,000 or $10,000 for a race, but like a lot of those guys just they have a nomadic lifestyle. They just fish around for other races to be a part of. If Pitt wasn't tapped for this F1 slot, he would have gone and driven like a Baja race.
Oh yeah, in the movie.
Yeah, I remember he was looking at, and he was just kind of like hemming and hawing about like, maybe I'll go down to Mexico and do this. But I don't know if this is all drivers, but there's so many different kinds of races, so many different kinds of cars. Like, he was running Daytona, then he did F1, which is a totally different car. And Baja is, it's almost like a dune buggy.
Yeah.
Stock car is different. And again, without getting into all the nitty gritty of like why they're different, different speeds, different time trials, different performance characteristics for the cars. But I think F1 is kind of, I don't know if I want to say it's elite. It's extraordinarily expensive, and it's I think it's pretty demanding in that, like, these guys are running, at least on the straightaways, like insane speeds.
Yep. Scary.
What else? I mean, it's super fun to watch. And Kosinski seems to do. He really has a thing for speed, whether it's in an airplane or in a race car. He really captures movement with the camera at high speeds fantastically.
He definitely does. I thought that the filming was really good.
You remember the
excellent cinematography.
Right when we see Brad in his van, I had commented to you right after we saw the movie that he did a pretty good job of making it look like this van was bigger than it is. I thought he was in like an RV because he's sleeping in the back of it, and then he's doing pull-ups, and then he has like a protein shake or something in his little kitchenette, and then he gets out, and I'm like, oh my god, that's just a minivan.
Yeah, he's in a teeny tiny space, living.
Yeah.
In a teeny tiny space.
So, let's see. His initial return to the British Grand Prix sees him struggling with modern machinery and colliding with Joshua. That's his teammate. And in short, they have this contentious relationship because he's the old vet and Joshua's the young up-and-comer. Neither one of them have won an F1, and Joshua hasn't really placed beyond last place. So there's this weird back and forth, like Brad has experience and Josh has a lot of ambition, but they're still they don't have their footing for a little while as teammates. They have to kind of figure out where they both fit, and there's a scene where Brad tries to help him overtake one of their challengers on the racetrack, and Joshua gets a little what's the word I want? Overzealous.
Yep.
And he's drafting behind Brad, and then for anybody who's listening and doesn't know, and this is one of the few details I know about racing, is that when two teammates are on a straightaway or can gain speed, if the rear car is behind the front one's at high speed, there's a draft or a vacuum created behind that car which pulls the following car ahead. So if it shifts off to the side, it'll slingshot past. If it pulls outside the vacuum, it'll slingshot past the person he was following. And Joshua does this on a slick track, and pseudo-tragedy ensues. And it's funny, this whole movie is like contentious relationships for like the first hour and a half, and then it, how do you want to say, like, it just, I'm trying to think of the moment when things started to come together.
I think it took the whole movie. It was a really long time. There were just arguments and disagreements everywhere for a really long time between everybody in the movie, not just like the two main race car drivers. And I don't know, by the end,
who's our other girl here? Because and just for everyone listening, we do a notebook LM on this, and there's no way that I can cover all the copy that this thing spits out. So we just kind of have to pick and choose what we're going to use. But where's my mind map here?
You're looking for Carrie Condon.
That's who I'm looking for. Carrie is. That's the other thing I'm trying to figure out with this is how to. Where is she?
I was just looking her up a few
There
minutes
she
ago.
is. She's Kate McKenna, the APX technical director and Sonny's love interest, who becomes Sonny's love interest later in the movie. But she kind of gets sick of watching Josh and Sonny bicker back and forth, and she makes them play cards together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the beginning of their. They behave like actual grown-ups and teammates after that, but during their card game, I don't want to say Brad pulls a fast one, but he kind of lets Joshua believe something happened that didn't happen to kind of boost his confidence. Not boost his confidence, but because he was already a confident guy. You know what I'm talking about with the. He didn't show. He let him believe he won the card game.
Oh yeah,
And they left.
He just took off. Yeah.
Kate's supposed to be the first and only woman in her position, and she's constantly trying to prove to everybody that she's capable to build a winning team or build a car that'll outpace all comers. And I think what was kind of funny is that when she and Brad kind of hook up until that point, she makes a real point of pointing out that, like, I'm not going to get involved with somebody who I'm working with, and
Right.
you really like to. You came on board as like this lone wolf. I'm just going to go at it, and no, I'm not going to follow the rules. I'm going to do things that I want to do, and this is just not going to fly here. And she totally caves for him because it's Brad Pitt.
I mean, yeah, wouldn't she? Yeah,
Of course you
everybody would.
Stop talking tough, Carrie. No, no one believes your bullshit. Okay.
It was cute while it lasted.
Yeah, I mean,
but you knew that eventually
you get to make out with Brad Pitt.
I mean,
stop your.
It's not a question or a thought.
Yeah.
It's just like you do that.
Who else rounds out here? Tobias Menzies plays Peter Banning, APX board member who tries to buy off Brad at the end there. Sarah Niles as Bernadette Pierce, Joshua's fiercely protective mother. Kim Bodina as Casper Smolinski, team principal. Who else? I mean, there's a couple other people here who I'm not going to name. A lot of folks who, quite honestly, I didn't recognize. Simone Ashley, cast as undisclosed role for her appearance, was cut. Is that the person you were telling me about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was cast in an undisclosed role, but her appearance was cut to only a cameo credited as herself. Is she a race car driver?
No, she's not. She's an actress, a model.
Oh, okay. There's a ton of there's actual Formula One guys in this movie. You don't see it. You see their faces like at the podium, but they don't really make light of, or they don't show these guys while they're racing. All the camera work is on Javier and Brad and the kid who played Joshua. What else haven't I? Anything about this that you were expecting, or what was your what was your impetus to want to see this, aside from the fact that Brad was in it?
It's just fast and exciting in a world that I don't know anything about, but it just like.
I asked you at the end of this if you'd ever run dune buggies, and you should, like anyone listening, I wish you could have seen the look on her face absolute indignation. There's no way in the world I'm getting behind the wheel of one.
That's such a dumb idea.
Those things are fun.
That's not safe. That seems like such a bad idea.
Oh, they're so fun.
Okay, well, you go have fun.
I'm just saying. Trying to think what F1 drivers were. Holy crap! There was a bunch of these guys.
See, and I'm not familiar with that. I wouldn't know who they were, but I know there were a lot of cameos because they would briefly pass through in the movie or say something to somebody, and you'd be like, "That person must be." They're probably in that TV show. Drive to Survive. Yep.
If anyone's into F1, well, I'm not really pointing anything out that you don't know, because if you're into F1, you know about Drive to Survive. Lewis Hamilton, who also produced, Max Verstappen, and anyone listening, I don't know which teams these guys drive for. I know one of them's Mercedes, one of them's Ferrari, one of them's McLaren. You've probably heard the names before. Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, George Russell, Fernando Alonso, just to name a few. I did mention to you that I saw an article that there might be a crossover between this and Days of Thunder.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which I enjoyed this a lot. It was just fun and I regret to use the word action-packed, but it was fun. It was. I like a movie with movie stars, and
yeah, it's a big draw.
It's like I understand why, like some actors are considered bankable, and his team. Brad's team for helping him pick projects. Just like him and Cruz, they're second to none. They don't pick stinkers.
No, they definitely don't.
And now the thing with Days of Thunder is that it was kind of I don't want to say it was a loser, but it came on the heels of Top Gun. And I think they sold it as Top Gun in race cars.
Oh yeah, I could see that. That's, for sure.
It didn't do as well as a lot of his pictures, and it didn't do well enough to get a conversation around a sequel. But now with this, there was an article circulating in, I don't know if it was the Hollywood Reporter or what, but about the potential for them to blend these two universes and bring Tom and Brad back together. To be on screen again, and which they haven't done since Interview with a Vampire, which now would be interesting. They're both in their 60s, and I think, didn't you show me they went to was it the F1 premiere where Tom showed up?
I don't remember what premiere that was at. Maybe it was.
There was one, I think,
we watched him talk.
Yeah, and he was Brad was in a green suit.
Yeah, that might have been an F1 premiere.
Yeah. Let's see, who else do we have in terms of... let's see. Production. Development. Oh, and for anybody listening, no. Do I have a honey recipe?
No, you don't. I don't think so.
Is there anything that... what have we been talking about with that magazine I picked up? Apparently, I don't have it right now, but there's... What was the muffins I showed you? They're like French toast, cream cheese muffins.
Yeah, fruit, cream, yeah.
Oh, that are air fried.
Yes.
I'll be more prepared. I could get off my ass and go over to the stove and grab the magazine, but ladies and germs, I'm too lazy. I've got my feet up. I'm really comfortable. That'll be the one I do for the next movie.
And maybe before that, we will have made them and eaten them, so we could give a really good, what do you call that first take on
But get this, ladies and germs, this one doesn't like blueberries, so I have to swap out. What are we going to put in there?
There's so many other fruits.
Carrots or what?
That's a vegetable.
All right.
I don't want to eat vegetable muffins.
All right, so
Yuck.
we're not doing it. All right, apparently not.
Raspberries or strawberries, maybe?
How about bananas?
No. Ew, no.
You see what I deal with here? All right. Sources provide extensive detail on F1, blah, blah, blah. Breakdown of production aspects for anyone interested. Origin and bidding war. This is interesting to me. Film's development began with a bidding war in December of 2021.
Wow.
Wow, that is a while ago. For anybody who has an appreciation for, I like this stuff just because it has. You go to a movie and it's hard to see on screen how long it's been worked on. And that's right after COVID is when this started. For an untitled project starring Brad Pitt with producer Jerry Bruckheimer, director Kosinski, screenwriter Aaron Krugen, who was already attached. 3 previously collaborated on Top Gun Maverick, excuse me. Lewis Hamilton was involved in the film early on as a producer. Paramount, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, Sony, Universal, Walt Disney, Netflix, Apple, and Amazon all competed, and Apple eventually won out. Key personnel, already covered all that stuff. Locations, this is interesting. Silverstone in July 2023, coinciding with British Grand Prix. Can you imagine, like, just the logistics of putting this together?
I can't. Every time they moved races in this movie, my mind was blown, and that was just what we saw. It wasn't like...
Well, I think what they...
Is that what you're saying?
I think what the production must have done was take a season of F1, and the filming production probably went with,
the teams or something.
teams, and either on off days, like kind of piggybacked onto the teams at least to get shots of the cars and the racetracks and all that stuff. Filming occurred at other real F1 circuits, including Hungaroring. Yeah, I hope that's right. Give me some grace here. Spa, Francorchamps.
I'm not seeing where you're reading, so I can't help.
Yeah, that's all right.
With the pronunciation of exotic locations.
Monza, Zandvoort, Suzuka. I don't know any of these places.
The one was in Italy, and the next one that you read was in Japan, right? I think that's, yeah.
Autodoro, Hermanos Rodriguez, Las Vegas, and Yas Marina.
Wow.
Brands Hatch was used to stand for the Jerez footage. Headquarters scenes were filmed at the McLaren Tech Center.
Yeah, I saw that. I just reading that. That's pretty cool because that place was awesome.
Yeah, like this, just to walk around that place. How the name of the team for the movie was APX.
Yeah,
and they just reskinned the marketing for McLaren, but these tech centers they build one car.
And then they do all this work on it and all this research and all this testing in this one facility, and it is so cool.
Yeah, there's one room just to look at airflow around the car. There's another room just to do simulations, just like in an aircraft for pilots. The SAG-AFTRA strike, which began a week after filming started at the British Grand Prix, impacted production by making lead actors unavailable and reducing crew at races. That must have been a giant pain in the ass. composer's vision. Hans Zimmer, my guy, composed the score. Second collaboration with Kaczynski after Top Gun Maverick. Aimed for a hybrid score combining orchestra and electronic music, where the orchestra represented the human that sits inside the machine. And if I can, I'm going to make a comment here about just how, if you've never seen an F1 race, these guys, when they get into this car, they are part of the car.
There is no room for them. I don't know how these people get into the car.
Well, they slide in, but just like their helmets.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the helmets for these guys from like 30 years ago, there's all kinds of space for their head to
go
jiggle around.
Yeah.
And there is so much foam and padding, and it just like hugs their face completely.
It distorts it too a whole lot.
Yeah, it squishes it.
Yeah, squishes it and brings it up. It's like you don't have, your face doesn't look normal.
I can't imagine how much those guys must sweat because they wear a fire shield mask too.
Yeah.
That goes around their head. Then they put the helmet on, and when they squeeze into this thing, the steering wheel is, I don't even think it turns a full revolution.
I don't think it does either. And the steering wheel, I think in these movies, in these cars, to me looked more like a
video game controller.
Thank you. I was. That's exactly, yeah. So
And
it wasn't even a wheel.
Yeah, you have to learn the buttons and what does what. I think there was a button on there to elevate the spoiler and drop the
There was
a backer.
a button on. Yep.
Yeah, there was a button to drop, to bring the spoiler up, and then to drop one of the fins to let more airflow through. And oh my god, these guys are going so fast, and their cars are long with no real. All the tires are basically exposed.
Yeah.
And they get so close to one another. Like when one team is trying to overtake another, I mean, they'll get within an inch or two. And it seems like it's kind of courtesy that, like, if someone is going to be overtaken, like if you at least get a quarter of the car past whoever's in the next position, you kind of have to let them through.
Yeah,
But,
you don't have a choice.
Like if there's an error made and you tap somebody, wheels get thrown off.
Oh my gosh, any slight movement causes some major catastrophe.
And all the
disaster.
The fuel for these things is under pressure. So when they wipe out, half the time there's a fire. Well, I shouldn't say half the time, but depending on how catastrophic the crash is, like if there's air involved, if the car becomes airborne, that's one thing. But a lot of times these guys just slam into the barrier walls.
Sidelines, yeah.
And these cars are built to come apart, so they'll just kind of disintegrate around the box that the driver's in, and those things are built for, you could throw it from the moon down to the earth, and it would be, for the most part, in decent shape. But everything around that builds the car, it's all fiberglass and carbon fiber, and they get smacked and they disintegrate. Like on Brad's initial run, just to see if he was at time.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't finish. He wiped out. And when you're looking at that, and you're like, that's got to be like $60,000 right there, or $100,000.
Yeah.
And
the money adds up so quickly. In the beginning of the movie, didn't Javier Bardem say that his character was like $350 million?
Oh my God! Yeah.
And he was still trying to go win another race.
Yeah, and like you can just imagine every time those guys wreck one of those cars, that's a whole new. Like all those parts are custom. Like, all of them. And that, like the Pitt guys, when when a car would have to pit to switch out the tires, going beyond 3 seconds to pull off the tires is considered, an eternity.
Yeah.
Like every person gets or every tire gets its own little mini team, somebody to unscrew or to use the jack gun.
Yeah.
Another one or two people to pull a tire off, throw it on, and then jack it back in, and 4 all the way around. And you have to do it in 3 seconds.
Yeah. That really is amazing. What do they call that area?
The pit.
The pit. That's that blows my mind, and I've known about that for a long time. That's insane to me. Those people are just hanging out, watching all the races, and then all of a sudden the car pulls in, and they have to quick do everything like you said in 3 seconds. This whole team of people, when everybody has a little teeny tiny job, and then they send you off again.
Yeah, I wish I knew this. Hold on. This notebook LM better. We're still kind of figuring it out. What did I want to tell you about as far as marketing? I guess there were trailers and TV spots. I didn't know anybody watched television.
You said you can buy a Hot Wheels model of the car Brad Pitt drove.
When I was a kid, Hasbro had all these deals for toys for movies that were partially marketed to kids, and I'm curious if that is still a
thing,
or a revenue center for selling a movie.
I think that yes, it might be, but I think it's on a smaller scale.
Yeah, because I'm comparing everything to my childhood with Star Wars. And
okay, so I don't know anything about that.
Well, I mean, in that they built a whole toy line.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't really see this as the same kind of movie.
No,
but,
definitely not.
I mean, how many... This wasn't R-rated, was it?
I don't think so, no. I don't actually know. I could look, but...
The film reportedly brought in at least $40 million from sponsorships.
Wow.
Brands such as Expensify, Geico, Shark Ninja, MSC Cruises, and EA Sports were featured prominently as film sponsors.
Oh,
that's
I definitely saw a lot of that kind of thing when we were watching the movie. But sorry, go ahead.
I wonder how easy of a sell that was to the studios. We're going to make a movie about racing, but this is the best part. Financing for it is going to be amazing because there's going to be so much product placement.
Yeah,
Half this movie is going to be product placement.
Yeah.
There's going to be watches. There's going to be sunglasses.
Yep.
There's going to be cars. There's going to be, liquor. Which is funny that you would have liquor stuff with cars, but I guess we haven't come that far in 50 years.
Well, at the parties, if you're not a race car driver, if you're hanging out watching the...
for sure, yeah.
Did all the fancy champagne.
Yeah. Jewelry for all these alpha guys with their side piece, and they all have to look good. F1 25 video game by EA Sports featured APXGP livery from film and allowed players to undertake scenarios related to the movie. Heineken, merchant tie-ins, Hot Wheels. Oh, of course, Hot Wheels had to get a piece of this. Released a 1 in 64 scale diecast model. There it is.
Oh, you see a picture of it?
No. I'm just saying this is they wrote a little clip about it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I loved it. I'd be interested to see if Sonny Hayes makes because the closing of this movie wasn't dissimilar from Top Gun. In Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
He's just, I don't want to say how it ends, but he's just kind of goes back to doing his thing,
Yeah, this huge major thing didn't just happen in the last couple of years of his life.
Yeah, and then he just goes back and does what he was going to do before before you got roped into this situation. So yeah, totally fun. I'm looking forward to seeing if they try to either attach this to Days of Thunder or make a part 2. But it would be curious. I'd be curious to see how they craft a story for a part 2.
I thought it was really fun.
Yeah,
Really, really fun. And the ending was really great. The ending was really great.
And we're not. Don't spoil it.
I'm not gonna spoil it. I was just gonna say that the ending made watching all of what came before worth it.
Yeah, payoff.
Yeah.
100%. I think that's about all I got.
Okay.
Did we talk about what we're doing next time?
No, we didn't. And do we know what we're doing next time? I don't.
We don't. So we might as well start picking things and make a note. Next time my recipe is going to be that French toast
muffin.
Oh, God, that's good.
Okay.
All right, suckers. We'll be back sooner or later. Thanks for listening, as always. Toodles.